Hello everyone, my name is Erin and today I'm going to be doing a bit of a different video. So I was recently going through Insane Reader's channel because I used to watch him the 24 to the 7, but I just stopped. There was really nothing wrong with him. I just kind of fell out of love with BookTube, and to be honest, I still kind of am, but I'm easing back into there, no worries. You can't hate your own community. Well, actually you can. Like, I kind of hate Americans, but that's not what this video is about. I saw he had a video called Reading a Bad Boy Book and never watched it. I was planning on it. I still plan on it. However, I did just get to thinking, bad boys. Where do bad boys even come from? Like, sure, there are bad boys, but why are they so popular? Who even was the first bad boy? Who wrote the first bad boy book? There are so many type of bad boys, and I had a light bulb moment and I just said, I'm gonna make a whole entire video about that. So let's dive into this. Personally, I am not really a fan of the bad boys. I do not like the villains. I like myself the soft good boys who I have good times with, and we eat good food together and they help me pay my good taxes. But if you're into the bad boys, congratulations for writing this. As I said before, I really did think, what the heck was the first bad boy book? Turns out there's actually a book out there that's considered the first bad boy book. Crazy. I know, it's wild. I typed that into Google, I feel like an idiot, and like the FBI agent that was watching me was like, I was on the right track because something came up. What was the first bad boy book? Here she go again. So I guess the historians and the literaturists out there decided that there is the first bad boy book. And get this, you guys. It is literally called The Story of a Bad Boy. Creative title. It was published in about 1870 by an author named Thomas Aldrich Bailey, and it's considered a biography or autobiography, and I used to say autobiography, and I'm kind of wondering if that's how I actually pronounce it, but it is a biography of sorts. The main character's name is Tom Bailey, and they describe him as a bully, a vandal, a mischief. However, through my research, the worst thing that he did was buy a boat, name it Dolphin, and then sell it to an island with his friends. And the fact that he even bought the boat kind of turned me off. Like, that is not bad boy behavior. What are you doing? So do with that what you will. And just from that description, as Wikipedia puts it, you can kind of already see that it is a relatively mild bad boy book. However, it is considered the first because it inspired works such as Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, which are obviously very important parts of American literature. However, those aren't technically the bad boys that we will be talking about today, simply because, in my opinion, those focus more on being a bad boy when you're growing up. It's more about kids indulging in this childlike recklessness and this childlike want to just do what you want to do when you want to do it and praising it, whereas we're focused more on the bad boy with the leather jacket. This is it. This is the worst thing I've ever done. Or the one with the suit and the tie. No, I can't tie ties. Or, you know, just that modern classic bad boy with the tattoos or the cigarettes, which in all fairness is going out of style. Those types being the control freak. The main example I can think of is Christian Grey. Or if you have read any erotica out there, most likely the male love interest is somewhat of a control freak, as well as the suit type wearing bad guy who also owns $1 million company, who just happens to stumble across this beautiful young woman who is not quite on his level, but she's just striving for her dream. Yeah, that is a lot of erotica out there, and honestly, I hate it. There's also the sex addict bad boy. Typically, you see him with the Virgin Mary trope a little bit. He teaches our virgin golden girl all about the ways of sex, and then there's always that concern that a sex god is out there sexing it up with other women. And a lot of times, his storyline focuses on him choosing to only be with one girl. Monogamy is always this great, wonderful thing that men choose and hopefully keep up. But when the sex addict chooses it, it's on a whole entire different level. Then there's like the it's me versus them type of bad boy. Typically, this is our villain. For example, a villain that has a it's me versus them mentality is the Darkling. And a lot of people love the Darkling, so really works out for him. But it can also be the good guys. A good guy that has the mentality is Jace Wayland. A lot of people love Jace Wayland. That one's very popular. you see it a lot. Lastly, you have the convicts. For this one, I did not really think of examples of in literature, but I'm sure you have seen it before. They're just the troublemaker, many times the rebel, the one who's always getting locked up. Many times they try and stay out of trouble for their respective girlfriends because it makes me sad, and then they try their best, but then someone tips them over the edge and it turns out they beat them up because they said something bad about the girlfriend. I didn't break my promise because I didn't love you. I broke my promise because I do love you. Also, the lone wolf. The lone wolf is not always a bad boy, but just like the dark and mysterious types. And then the last type I could think of is simply the misunderstood. This bad guy very much overlaps with all the other ones I mentioned before, but in conclusion, they're misunderstood because of society. Perhaps we as the reader understand the reasons, but their execution is off, or maybe the bad guy isn't actually bad at all, but society is and their sense of ethics. And those are all the ones I can think of. If I missed one, you can tell me down below. I won't be offended. There are obviously a lot of different types out there, but those are just some of the main ones I thought of. The last question I decided to ask is simply, why do girls like bad boys? I'm sorry, I should have said people. Psychology and just things like that obviously have a lot of layers, but I did find an article by Harvard, or from some student at Harvard. It was a research lab conducted by Harvard. I will link it down below, but I will try and simplify it as much as I can right now. In conclusion, a lot of women say that they want nice guys, but according to their research, a lot of women were ranking men that fit the bad boy archetype more than the good guy archetype as being more attractive. But apparently bad boys do have lower success rates when it comes to things such as long-term relationships. In their conclusion, they basically said that women prefer bad boys for things such as one-night stands or for booty calls, but good men when it comes for settling down and having a family are just looking for something stable. Although that's not really the answer I was looking for. If you were looking for a deep one, just go down and read the article down below. I think in fiction it's kind of opposite though. Obviously in real life we do prefer good men for long term, but if you look at all these typical bad boys, they do end up choosing one girl and dedicating their life to them. So maybe we like the idea of being chosen against odds? I don't know. There's just so many different reasons. I can't give you a solid one. What I do know, however, is that bad boys are popular. And honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing as long as we are realistic with ourselves, especially because a lot of the time these bad boys that we're into tend to be manipulative, violent, borderline abusive, and controlling. I feel like if we're able to differentiate in real life what is and what isn't okay, then it's fine. But if it is borderline abusive, going too abusive, I do think that that's where we should draw the line with our literature and maybe not support those series anymore. Especially because oftentimes people only think of abuse as being physical or sexual, but in reality there's this whole entire other thing called emotional abuse, which can be just as harmful. But that being said, I don't judge anyone that likes the Darkling. I know I joke about it, but in reality I'm not going to lower your rating as a person if you like him. I don't judge people that like Christian Grey. I don't judge people that like Maven Kallor. I could not care less. Sebastian Morgenstern, I could not care less. That is really all I have for this video today. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. I do make videos every single week, so if you're interested and you want to see more, subscribe down below. I had so much fun making this video. I think it's probably going to be a new favorites, which by the way, I do have a personal favorites playlist if you're interested. But I hope to see you next time. Bye!